So for Unit 1, I think that the pro would be it not being time, just us going into chemistry. So we'd be like more stressed and all. So not being time just makes us calm down, I feel like. And also, it was kind of confusing because we just have never really learned chemistry concepts before. But luckily it was easier stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, and so like for advice for Unit 1, just like I would like say as for like advice, like don't be afraid to like ask your friends like around you for help, because like I like going into chemistry, like I didn't know anyone, and so like whenever I didn't understand like the confusing concepts, I would be like stressing out and being like, okay, I'm just gonna go home and like ask my parents because like I'm super confused and like I have no idea. So like just like don't be afraid to like ask your friends and your teacher. Yeah, so for Unit 2, I think a pro was that like the alpha, beta, and gamma powers, like how much power they had, like the number and everything. I think like that in the vodcast was explained really well, and so like it was really like, easy to like use because you had to use those. I think a lot in Unit 2, and yeah.
For a con, we kind of said that the half-lives were explained bad. The way they were just put in the vodcast, it was really hard to like follow, and like we just were like very confused because it didn't really make sense, and so we had to like ask the teacher, and we were like, we don't know how to do this. But
yeah. And for advice, just I would say like memorize the periodic table, like like metals, non-metals, like noble gases, transition metals, like those type of thing, because those will like screw you over on tests if you do not understand them. So you really should memorize them. Yeah.
So for Unit 3, we said for a pro that vodka. Wait. Oh yeah, no. The vodcast explained covalent, ionic, and metallic and valence bonds well, cause like, well, we just we thought it was really well explained, good definitions and all, which made us really understand it.
Yeah, and then also in Unit 3, the like electron naming shortcut, like the for example like 2s2 or like, and then like the 3p whatever, and then like 4d whatever, like I feel like the shortcut for that like literally like was not even like explained like on the podcast, and so that like confused me a lot, so I just say like explain that better.
And then for advice, understand how to draw Lewis structures. Those are very confusing, and
super confusing.
And they come back in the next unit after.
And the exams.
So like if you don't understand it, ask questions, because
for sure.
Otherwise you'll struggle.
Yeah. So in Unit 4, naming the compounds I feel like was explained really well. Like for example, like naming a compound, like if it's like lead with a charge of 2, like you have to like put it in Roman numerals, like that type of thing. I just feel like it was explained well. Unit 4 also, I feel like, the hydro, hypo, and like per, like those prefixes, I feel like were just so confusing, and I maybe it was just me, but like it took like I feel like a lot of people a long time to like really understand it because it was really confusing.
So for advice, just like what Lydia said, memorize what the prefixes are, like number-wise, because if you don't, that's already like 50% chance of you getting it wrong. So memorize those, and then you'll most likely get them right, because otherwise it's pretty easy. And then, so for Unit 5, we said for a pro, we said that the math was explained step by step, which is very good because it helped us to really understand how to do it specifically. Also, for cons, we said that the lab directions were unclear. Like, when we did them, we kind of, like, misunderstood what they meant and just didn't really know how to do it exactly, and then we turned out doing it wrong, and then we'd have to like redo it unless they were described by Mr. Gundrum well, then we knew what was going on.
Yeah. And for like advice for Unit 5, I would just say like memorize the numbers that never change, like moles to liters, like 2.4 liters is a mole, and like for moles, like particles, like moles to particles, like memorize those numbers because they will never change. Okay.
So then for the overall semester, because there's only 5 units, we said for a pro that Mr. Gondrum was appropriate to ask questions.
Approachable?
Approachable, sorry. Not appropriate. Sorry. No, he's very easy to go to. He's really funny and all. So he's like, and he's very helpful. He'll always be there to help you if you're struggling.
And like a con we said was the labs, I feel like, were just never explained very well unless Mr. Gondrum specifically like explained them himself. But like the instructions that we try to follow just weren't like explained very well. And some advice: always ask if you don't understand something, because it most likely is gonna come back. And just don't fake it. Just ask, because Mr. Gondrum has your back. You've been a great teacher, Mr. Gondrum.
Yes.